Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for this week's question and answer video. My name is David, I'm a life coach, and I make these videos hopefully to help you guys heal from your traumas. Best way to heal, one way to heal, is to absolutely understand what happened to you. Understand your trauma. Without understanding your trauma, it causes a lot of shame, a lot of anxiety, and we can do it again. We can keep experiencing this over and over again if we don't learn from it. So please, ask questions, learn what you can from it, okay? And let's keep a dialogue. Let me know what you think of my answers, please. And keep asking me more questions, give me more information, stuff like this, and hopefully I can give you good answers. Okay, so I like to recommend something every week. This week is another book. Last week I recommended a book. This week I'm recommending a workbook. Thought it was kind of cool when I came across this. It's called the PTSD Workbook, Simple, Effective Techniques for Overcoming Traumatic Stress. This is by Mary Beth Williams. This came out in 2016 and has been revised. She's revised this and gone back and added more to it. You can get this on Kindle for $13.99, paperback for $21.49 on Amazon. The link is always down below to anything I recommend, down in the description box. Just to give you a little pre here. So PTSD can often cause you to relive your traumatic experience in the form of flashbacks, memories, nightmares, and frightening thoughts. This is especially true when you are exposed to events or objects that remind you of your trauma. Left untreated, PTSD can lead to emotional numbness, insomnia, addiction, anxiety, depression, and even suicide. So, how can you start to heal and get your life back? In the PTSD Workbook, 3rd edition, so this is the 3rd edition, psychologists and trauma experts Mary Beth Williams and Soili Pojula, sure I messed that one up, outline techniques and interventions used by PTSD experts from around the world to conquer distressing trauma-related symptoms. In this fully revised and updated workbook, you'll learn how to move past the trauma you've experienced and manage symptoms such as insomnia, anxiety, and flashbacks. This book it's based on cognitive behavioral therapy, which maybe most of you probably need. That's talk therapy number 1. There's nothing that replaces it. This is a workbook that goes along with it, okay? It goes over PTSD symptoms, causes, and it talks about the link between cortisol and adrenaline and its role in PTSD, things that I talk about in my videos all the time. That's what caught me on here. So any of you have ever, by chance, ever done this or read it or looked at it, let me know. Anybody who decides to purchase this and check it out, let me know what you think, please. Thank you. Okay, let's get into the questions. First one is Val from Ohio, and thank you, Val, for telling me where you're from. And all of you, please let me know where you're from. You can be general, okay? Stop in, say hi, hi from Australia. I love it, and so do other people. I'm from Ohio. Thanks for your reply. I know how damaging it is to be a survivor. I never met him in person, but he does respond to me. I'm not perfect, and I don't expect anyone else to be. It would be nice to have a companion, but being through so much trauma, I understand how he feels. But yeah, it's unfortunate that he thought up the potential meeting, giving me hope. Oh, brought up. My question is, David, is it possible for two broken people to heal each other? No. Real simple. No. So one thing that we do in this experience, and a lot of people do in this community, narcissistic community, is we kind of go good guy, bad guy, don't we? And we kind of go, we have the person who abused, the narcissist, and then we have the victims, us, right? And we're the good person, they're the bad person. I'm not going to tell you not to do that. If we could just get beyond that a little more and realize that two people in a relationship together that's absolutely toxic, both are unhealthy, both need help, okay? And you acknowledge that. You're wondering if these two victims can get together and heal each other. How? I don't know how. And a lot of you wonder this and think this, and this is actually a question I get. I've had a lot. You can't love somebody healthy. You can't, if somebody needs therapy, and maybe they need CBT, maybe they need DBT, family therapy, all this stuff, and maybe they need medication. Maybe there's a disorder or something wrong with us, something else besides PTSD, or along with, maybe we have eating disorders, anxiety disorder. How is a mate going to fix that for you? You can't. You just can't. And I claim I can help people along with cptsd. If they have a therapist as well, even better, okay? So I claim I've helped people out of that, because the help is determined by the person I help, not me. They've told me I help them. I've seen them improve, things like this. I can't do that for my friends. I can't do that for my family. I can't do that for my girlfriend. If I had children, I can't. Therapists can't do that with their family and children. It's too personal, for one, okay? But two, what's really important to understand here is why we have toxic relationships. It's not just because you got fooled and tricked and someone was bad to you and hurt you, and you finally got away from them, and now it's all done. Okay? There is a certain reason that we get into these relationships. Okay? And we need to figure out why and fix that. It's not going to be fixed by getting in a relationship with someone who just doesn't abuse you. Relationships are very difficult. Very difficult. And when I was healing, I dated plenty of people. I stopped dating narcissists, man, and borderlines and toxic people like this a decade ago. I haven't. But I've dated some people that aren't healthy. I've dated a few people in this 10-year more span that were also victims, like you and I. And they wouldn't hurt a fly. They never hurt me. They were really nice. I didn't hurt them. We didn't abuse each other. We were really nice and sweet and good to each other. But neither of us knew how to have healthy relationships, and therefore it became stressful. We weren't sure how to communicate and be vulnerable. We didn't know what to do next and things like this. And it just caused more stress, because relationships cause the biggest source of stress or comfort. Relationships being the most important thing in our lives, we seek this comfort. We need it. It's a need, not a want. It doesn't just feel good. We have emotional needs that are the most important thing in our lives, and we must have our emotional needs met in emotional relationships with people. And if not, they're neglectful. They become toxic, dependent, and we can start having all kinds of symptoms, from addictions and anxiety and depression, and even be suicidal. So it's not just we need to love somebody and be loved. It's not especially that we just need to find someone that doesn't hit me or cheat on me or lie to me. Okay? There's so much involved. And my best recommendation for somebody who has had, especially a series of toxic relationships, is stop dating. Stop dating. You've got to give some kind of barrier. You can't just be like, well, I'm going to be in therapy, but I'm going to date this person now while I'm in therapy about relationships and learn about relationships while I'm with someone having a relationship. It's just, gosh, it's so much better to strengthen the relationships you have and really evaluate them and see if they're toxic and how I can make these less stressful. Because everybody that comes to me is coming to me with stress. Stress. The biggest source is relationships. So we start examining the relationships they have now, because we've got to start lowering the stress. And if you don't know how to have a healthy, very healthy, functional relationship, you are going to be stressed, just like you've been when you were abused. I hope that makes sense. Okay? The answer is no. Thank you. Thanks, pal. Good luck. I always tell people, become the person you want in your life. You want a healthy, nice, loving person, become that. Okay? Don't date somebody to become that. Mimi, don't know where you're from. Please tell us your locations, everybody. Let us know where you are. Thank you, or at. Thank you so very much for validating and making a poignant statement to all as to how horrific this kind of emotional and psychological and mentally abusive this type of trauma is to a human being. Your breakdown of this reality is more appreciated than you realize. I thank you with all my heart for your honesty regarding this kind of abuse. Thank you, Mimi, very much for taking your time to tell me. Thank you. It's very nice. And thanks for supporting my channel. Jalapeno Gardener. Let us know where you're from next time, guys. Tell us your locations. Thanks. Hey, David, I think I stumbled upon something healing by accident. A few years back, I started learning a new word every day to expand my vocabulary so I could journal more accurately about how I feel and why. I had no idea how cathartic and helpful this would be at the time. I was in prison and it just came to me as something I needed to do. Why was expanding my vocabulary and journaling about how I feel and why so cathartic, and can this help others? Thanks. Absolutely. Absolutely can help others. That's beautiful. I think what I see right away, besides what it did for you later as far as your communication skills, committed to something for yourself and you invested, and it feels good, doesn't it? It's like, think all the things we've done for other people, guys. We need to start doing that for ourselves, okay? Just like the parent that says, oh no, I'm just going to be there for my kids and screw my life. Well, then that's what you're teaching your kids. But this is great. Okay, so getting into, I mean, you're sharpening your communication skills. If relationships are the single most important thing in our lives, and that's because we have our emotional needs met through them, what we need, the most important needs in our life, communication is the most important thing we can do, isn't it? Isn't it? I've dated people with language barriers, and it was pretty bad. It made it worse. You know, you can only use your hands and feet and fingers and toes and point, and not so much, you know. I think of Helen Keller, right? Couldn't talk, couldn't hear, couldn't see. She couldn't communicate anything, and she got nothing and lived in a world of absolute anger and frustration. Communication is vitally important. But I love what you did. You did something for yourself. And I think it paid off, because that's the one thing that will always pay off, guys. Always, always, always is self-investment. Things you do for yourself pay off forever, period. Things you do for other people could strengthen your relationship, could feel good, but it really pays off when you do it for yourself, guys. I like that. Thanks for sharing that. Huge suggestion I would give. Why not? Learn a new word every day. If I hear a word someone used on TV or in a conversation, I don't know what it is, I look it up right away, find out what it is. People in my life would tell you, if they're here sitting next to me, that David knows a lot. And I say I don't know anything. I think I know a lot, but I'll remember things that may not be very significant at the time, and then someday they are. But that's great. I like that. Thanks for sharing, Jalapeno Gardener. And C, I can't remember where you're from. Oh, Colorado. Thank you very much. C from Colorado. Just ordered the book. Thank you for the suggestions. That was the last book I recommended last week. And I think it's a good one too. Let me know what you think of it, C. Okay? This is a tough time for me. Just found out that my ex has been with other women. I'm sorry. Although we have been separated for a while, but the news really hurt me. Feel like I was thrown back into the first month. Yep, let my hurt and anger get out of control, broke no contact, and called him. Do not remember all I said, but it was not pretty. In return, I got 8 words. I'm not going to fight with you. I'm so sorry. Oh, that hurts to read. The silent treatment has always been his way. Never did communicate. Why would his seeing other women get to me after months? I broke it off. I was doing well, or so I thought. Now the constant thinking of him, the hurt, the anger, back with a vengeance. I'm so sorry. Please talk to somebody. Please, please, please. Please hire somebody and tell them all this, and you'll feel better. Why does it still hurt? Let's not even question it. It does. It hurts, and it hurts, and we're going to cry, and we're going to tell somebody, describe exactly what it's doing to your body, okay? Think about this when you work out, and you'll see your emotions change, okay? It hurts because you cared about him, because you loved him. And when we lose people, I know the relationship has been over now for a little while, and so we're grieving the loss, but we're not just grieving the loss of the relationship we had with them, we're also grieving the future we had planned, and you had plans to be with him today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, right? And it hurts, okay? So you're still grieving. And don't be hard on yourself. You're human. This is what we do. Would you rather things like that never affect you? Like a psychopath, that means you never have any joy. You'll be okay, okay? Whoever told you this, however you found out, let's stop doing that. So if you looked and saw this somewhere, stop doing that because it hurts. Like, why do things that hurt? And if you think that this is helping and controlling your anxiety, I'm here to tell you it's making it much worse, isn't it? Do you see that? We need help, okay? So talk to somebody about this. Have a support group about this. If a friend or somebody told you about this, let them know I'm worth more than ever knowing more. I don't need to know more. I've been hurt enough, haven't you? Okay? This relationship is over. It's not going anywhere. You don't need to know anymore. We need to grieve. We need to heal. Do that with somebody else, okay? And I'm really, really sorry. I really am sorry. That's awful. I've had a similar experience. It's awful, and I know what you mean. You think that you feel so much better, and you don't care, and then all of a sudden, God, I guess I still care, and that's who you are. Okay, so accept it and just make yourself feel better. Best way is to talk. Okay. All right, next one, Heather Lynn. Don't know where you're from. Let us know where you're from, Heather, next time. Thank you. Hi, David. What happens to the narc family when the scapegoat finally leaves? So, the scapegoat, the toxic, narcissistic family dynamics. You'll see this with 3 toxic people in any kind of relationship. 2 friends, girlfriend, boyfriend, and a friend, or a family member, stuff like this. And you always have like the hero, the villain, and the victim. Okay? Scapegoat. Where did that name come from? Kind of interesting. Back in the days of hundreds of years ago, I'm not going to try to date it, I don't remember. But a king, I think this started in Jerusalem, could be wrong, but a king would take a goat and literally put all the sins of the village on the goat and send it out. You live with our sins. It's shame. It's shame. If you're a scapegoat in your family, that means your family carries a lot of shame. More shame than they can handle, and they try to put it onto you. It is the worst psychological thing you can do to a child. Blame them for everything. Why? Because children are very narcissistic. We already think it's our fault for anything. Divorce, our fault, not good enough. And then you're going to tell the child, you're going to validate that and concrete it and say, everything's your fault, you're a bad kid. Not us, we're good parents, you're bad. What happens to a family after that scapegoat leaves? Well, it can still continue. That scapegoat doesn't need to be there. Right? I was the scapegoat, still am. I think I've been the scapegoat of my family for, over 30 years. And I don't communicate with them. Still the scapegoat. That's what I hear. I've heard it. Haven't known David, haven't seen David, known David since he was 17. But he is an awful person. He was great the day he left. We told him he was a great kid and all that. But since he's been gone, he's an awful person. We don't know anything about him. I don't know. But he's awful. Awful, awful, awful. Not us. We're great. He's awful. So that can continue. The scapegoat doesn't necessarily even have to be there really anymore. But they might pick a new one. Family dynamics change, and you can go from golden child to lost child, scapegoat, things like this. So this can change, and they might need or have a new scapegoat. But this will cause inner fighting because they're going to be left to deal with their shame a little bit more. Because it doesn't go away. Scapegoating somebody doesn't make your shame go away, right? So they're still going to have to live with their shame, and how they deal with it is up to them. They might get worse. They might start, addictions may get worse, and inner fighting, things like this. I don't know. But they're going to have to scapegoat somebody because they can't live with themselves. They might just do it to each other. Emily from South Africa. Hi, Emily. In a group of people, how do you prevent people from scapegoating you? Interesting. Right back to back. Are there things you should or shouldn't do so that you aren't a target? I know if someone does something that irritates me, is it my fault? So I can do something about it? Or should I say something, or would it sound petty? I never know what should be allowed or what shouldn't. I don't like how people treat you bad when they're having a bad day. I want people to be consistent. Why should you keep quiet the days that they're having a bad day, just so that you don't get hurt? It's their problem. But they are making their problem your problem. What should you do so that people don't irritate you so much? And how do you get rid of depression? Just to close it off with, and how do you get rid of depression? And how do you make $1 million in a week? Emily. Yeah, this is communicating with people. This could be even just at the workplace. I don't know. The question is, what can you do? What can you do, Emily? You can't change people, and so we accept people for who they are. And we communicate by telling people how we feel and asking for what we want. That's all you can do, Emily. And at that point, you can decide to keep someone in your life or not. So people are going to irritate other people, and you're going to irritate somebody someday. Emily, you have before, and you will again, and I will, and other people will irritate you, and it doesn't mean that they're a bad person, or do you want them out of your life forever because they irritate you? So we have to communicate, don't we? You have to say, I don't like this, I'm not going to accept this, and could you please not do this anymore? It feels like this. And if they say, okay, and I'll try, and then it continues, and you have to make a decision if you want to keep that in your life or not, Emily. There's not much more you can do, okay? And we're all different. There's going to be some people you can't tolerate in your life at all, and there's going to be some people that you really love, and they have little quirks and things like this, and you're going to have to decide if you can get over that or not. But we can't punish people and criticize and ridicule them for it. Right? We have to accept people for who they are, because the opposite is judgment. But we never have to accept anybody or their behaviors in our life. Okay, Emily? How to get rid of depression? Best way is to go see a mental health practitioner. Talk therapy, possibly medication. Number one way. And that's how I'm going to answer things like that always. Someone asks me, how do you get rid of anxiety? Go to a doctor. See a therapist. How do you get rid of depression? See a therapist. How do you get rid of PTSD? See a therapist. Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, anything I tell you outside of that is like, oh, David doesn't think you need talk therapy. That's what you need. But there are things you can do along with, supplemental, okay? Tons. And I talk about it so much in all my videos. So I don't know if I need to list everything today, Emily. I talk about it in all my videos. I talk about depression massively. Think about it this way. Depression is past. Anxiety is future. Think of depression was yesterday. Anxiety is tomorrow. Okay? And a lot of us stop living in today, and we were still stuck in a little bit of things that happened yesterday. And a lot of us are still scared of what might happen tomorrow. Okay? And this can get worse if untreated, big time. And a very common way to heal people from depression today is stop thinking about it, live in today. Well, that doesn't work. You're denying yourself. You're hurting. You're in pain. You're suffering. And that needs to be fixed. And depression is something that happened to us in our past. Okay? There's all kinds of different depression, clinical and supplemental and things like this. And I'm serious, left untreated will cause massive problems in your life and your relationships, okay? It needs to be treated. So that's how I'm always going to answer that. There's things you can do to help that are supplemental, and I talk about all those in my videos. So if you want to know more like that, if you don't hear me or see the videos where I talk about that, then ask specific questions what you can do supplementally. But number one way, talk therapy. And there's nothing that supplements that. Kyle's from Melbourne, Australia. Hi, Kyle's. I like your name. Kyle's is a female, I believe. Narcissist X is now with a woman with borderline personality disorder. I'm curious as to whether she will be better suited to him than I ever was being promoted on social media. Thank you. And I asked for a little bit more information. You said they are showing off their happiness online, and she is on bandwagon with him. After I was put through so much abuse and trauma, has he changed? Will she be treated better? He still makes me second guess things. I'm sorry, Kyles. I'm so sorry. This is an extremely common place that you're in, that a lot of us have been in, will be in, are in. It's huge. It's the number one topic in this, really, right? When you get over the relationship, have they changed? Are they happier now with somebody else? And things like this. This is depression, right? This is our past, right? Relationship's over. Awful feeling. I bet you feel awful. I'm so sorry, Kyles. I hope you feel worthy enough to get some help, okay? Because we need help. We all need help in our life. All of us. You need help, and so get it, and you'll feel so much better. So has he changed? Well, change what? Why would he? What happened, Kyles? Met a new sick person that has a personality disorder, so he changed? No. If he is as toxic, let's say, because you didn't even say, let's say he's a narcissist, has a personality disorder, he's been abusing you and things like this. I don't know if he can change, and if he does, it takes more than I could even say. Years. How's that? Years. Has he changed? No. Why would he? Because he looks happy now on social media. Don't forget how your relationship started. I'm sure it was something like this, right? Is she better suited for him? He's toxic, can't have a functional relationship. So is someone very toxic and can't have a relationship too better suited for him? Better suited for what? Have a better relationship? No. He won't abuse her. Why? That's what he does. And so you're taking it on that he abused you because you're a bad person, only you. He only chose you because you kind of deserved it. And now that you're over, now this toxic relationship is over, and you are the one that feels bad, and he feels happy, he looks happy, doesn't feel, looks, he's totally rejecting his hurt, his loss, doesn't matter what he feels about you, your loss, he's rejecting it, replacing it with somebody else, ignoring it, denying himself, and he's pretending he's happy, and he's not. He's just, his hormones have gone up a little bit. And this will sink down bad, and this will get absolutely disgustingly toxic, and he'll most likely come back to you, and I hope you're in a better place when he does that, so you don't take him back. Kyles, get help, get support, okay? Please, okay? I'm really sorry where you're at. So sad. There's a lot of help out there, and there's a lot of things you can be doing to get better, okay? Emily again from South Africa. I don't like how people can use people and take advantage of them. They put cute animals on cereal boxes that is placed at the same height as children to make them sell better. The world feels sick. So that's not the world, Emily. You're talking about a company, a corporation, not a human being. Companies, corporations, things like this don't have a conscience. None. None. And if you start getting mad at this company and expect them to have a conscience, they never will, and it'll go nowhere, right? Most of us have done this, you know. Oh, I'm sorry to the customer that my company I work for screwed you over, but I just work here. I just answer phone calls. I just ring you up. I'm sorry. Because the company doesn't have a conscience, and I get to lose it. I get to lose my conscience with the company. Start studying secondary psychopaths, you'll understand it. The world feels sick. It might just be you that feels that way, Emily, and I'm really sorry. I'm sorry if you don't. I'm just saying it. That might be. A lot of the times the view of the world is kind of how we view ourselves, okay? I don't watch TV. I don't watch commercials. I don't read advertisements. It is not in my life at all. I pay Google $10 a month to have all commercials removed from my YouTube videos. Literally. I pay, it's like $10 a month or something. I do not ever see a single commercial, no advertisements, nothing like that. And I go to the store and I get what I want and I leave. Much happier. Because I remember a couple months ago, the TV was on where I was at and I couldn't turn it off. And holy cow. You have cancer, this kind of cancer, sickness, disease, you're dying, take this drug, that drug, this drug, that drug. I mean, Jesus Christ. I imagine just, you have nothing else to do but sit and watch TV all day. How bad you'll feel after like a week, a month. Oh, God. World's not sick, Emily. It's just companies. It's the way that our economic system works, and yours in Australia. Elite Isaac Alt. Don't know where you're from. Let us know next time, please. Thank you. Why does the narcissist always cause problems in little thing on a daily? Well, that stuff like that, not getting along with people and little arguments and stuff like that, is depression, okay? That's a real big sign of depression. Then a narcissist is completely dependent on other people to the point where they can't even be by themselves. Okay? They do not want to ever be by themselves. I'm not saying they can't stay the night at home by themselves, but it's next day they're just getting that kind of attention from somebody somewhere. Okay? They're completely dependent on all their needs from other people. They are not self-reliant at all. They cannot give themselves what they need. And a lot of people that watch these videos don't even understand what emotional needs are. You guys, a lot of you don't understand that. And you don't understand how to provide that for yourself. So if you start learning that, that's the key to all of this. The key to all of this. Emotional needs. They need it. It's a need, and they aren't getting what they need, and they don't know how to do it themselves, so they're dependent on you, and so they will cause problems. And you know what that sounds like? All of you who are parents out there, what does that sound like? You're terrible too. You're 3, your 4-year-old, your 5-year-old, always causing little problems that don't need to happen. Because they want attention, because they aren't self-reliant, because they need your help, because they're still exploring the world and learning. And that's what a narcissist is. Not like, it's an absolute underdeveloped emotional child. The people who know them the best will see the little 7-year-old, 8-year-old come out. And that's who they are, okay? A broken little child. Paul Sertzig from Wisconsin. Hi, David. Paul from Wisconsin. And have a great week. Thank you, Paul. You always drop in and say hi. Love it. Thank you so much. You have a beautiful week yourself this week. You told me that last week. You have a good week this week, okay? Thank you, Paul. And that's it. That's all the questions. Thanks, guys, very much. Thank you. Please keep asking questions. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I missed a question. Ask me again, okay? Please. And love yourself first. Have a good week. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.